Hello children, just Mr. Immanuel here. Now, I was really bored at home and I came up with the idea of making some really tasty pancakes with you. Now, I've got a recipe and it's really going to be very easy for you to follow. So, the pancakes I'm going to make today are not going to be your usual flat pancakes because I don't really like those. I'm going to make some soft, fluffy, American style pancakes. So, follow the recipe and I hope you enjoy it. This recipe you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a measuring jug. You're going to need some scales. Now I'm lucky enough to have these scales, okay? If you don't have scales, you can just have a standard mug here, okay? And we can use that mug to measure things. You're going to need some bowls. You're going to need some lovely eggs. You're going to need raisins. You don't have to have the raisin. This is optional. You can have some flour, some baking powder. You don't need the baking powder as well. We've got sugar and we've got some salt and we've got some milk. Okay, so once you've got all of your ingredients, let's get started. So what we're going to do first, in our bowl and our weighing scales, we're going to measure out 140 grams of flour. Now, if you don't have one of these electric scales, these are really easy to use, you can use a cup. Now, I've tested this out and I think 140 grams is about half a cup, just over half a cup of flour. So, I'm going to take my cup, I'm going to put in just over half a cup of flour. Okay, and I'm going to pop it in here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit extra. Okay, not that much extra. Okay, you want to lightly just put the flour into the bowl. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put some baking powder. But Mr. Immanuel's silly, he forgot to get a teaspoon. Hold on just. Got my teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of baking powder. So all you need is baking powder. If you don't have baking powder, do not worry. The baking powder just helps the pancakes become really nice and fluffy, okay? So I'm going to put my baking powder in there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put half a teaspoon of salt. Now, you don't have to put the salt in, but the salt just makes your pancakes just have that little nice salty flavour with the sweet flavour. It just makes them really tasty. Okay, so I'm going to put half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, now you're going to have to estimate what half a teaspoon looks like. Okay, pop your half a teaspoon of salt in there, and then I'm just going to mix all of this together. Okay, just going to mix all of that together. Fantastic. Now, what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to take your eggs and your milk next, okay? So I'm going to be using a measuring jug. I'm just going to check my recipe. In the measuring jug, you're going to put 130 millilitres of milk. Now, 130 millilitres of milk is about, again, half a cup of your mug, okay? So I'm going to take my milk, I just bought this fresh today, and open it up, okay? If your milk is really heavy, especially for Key Stage 1, you can ask your mum or your dads to put this in for you. So put your cup on the table, and you're just going to measure out half a cup of milk, okay? So once you've done that, you're going to close it up. Let's just test in my measuring jug if that is half 130, okay? So it's just a bit over, okay? But I think that will be fine, okay? We're not going to be strict with our measurements today. Into my milk, I'm going to put in 1 egg. Now, what I like to do with eggs, how I crack them, is I like to crack them on a nice, soft, flat surface. Okay, sometimes people like to use a spoon or a fork, but I just like to do it on a flat surface. And why I do that is because I can control how I'm going to crack it into the milk, okay? So, crack it, and then I can open it with my fingers and I can put it into the milk, okay? Now, why I said you want 2 bowls is because you can now put that egg in there. So I'm going to whisk this all together in here. This is the really fun bit. You can start whisking things together. Okay? Okay, so there we are. Now, in my flour, I'm going to take my sugar. You can use any sugar. I've got caster sugar, which is probably best to use, but you can use any sugar. I'm going to put in about 5 or 6 teaspoons of sugar. 5, okay, that's 5, that's enough sugar there. But you can put in however much sugar you want to. Don't go over about 7 or 8 teaspoons, okay? If you want them less sweet, you don't have to put that much, okay? So I'm going to take that off my scales. Then I'm going to pour in my milk and my egg mixture, okay? So there we are. Now, if you are lucky enough, like Mr. Immanuel, to have one of these whisks, you can use them, okay, an electric whisk. If you're not, you can use a wooden spoon, or you can use just a hand whisk like this. Put it on really take these off, okay, tap them, and you can put them in that extra bowl, the one I said you should have at the beginning. Fantastic. Now when you're done, you should have a nice mixture like this, okay? So we've moved into the kitchen now. What you're going to need a frying pan. Mum, Dad, this is now your job, okay? All the kids have done all the work, you just have to fry them. So a nice frying pan. Okay, you're going to need any oil, okay? So I'm just going to use some rapeseed oil. You can use vegetable oil, sunflower oil. What I want you to do, in your mixture, I just want you to put a little bit of some of the oil, okay? Just a little bit, and mix it all together. Then you're just going to put a little bit of the oil into your pan. Okay, this is much like frying a chapati or frying a roti. It's much like that, okay? Then you're going to switch on your cooker. Fantastic. Okay, pop the pan on. And parents, you're going to need to do this, okay? The kids can stand next to you, but like me, if you've got a gas cooker, you're going to have to try and keep them safe, okay? So children, make sure you stand far back. Switch on your cooker. And just make sure you just try to spread the oil around the whole pan. Cooker is on, and you've got your mixture. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to use one of these spoons. I'm going to put it nicely into the pan, very, very slowly. Okay, I'm going to test one out first. I'm going to put it nicely into the pan. I can't do this with 2 hands, but I'm going to try, okay? So you can see that's frying nicely, so I think they're ready. So because you just want them small like that, you don't want them any bigger, you can put one on the other side. Try to make sure that they don't touch. Okay? You can just sort of coax it this way. Alright, and then you're going to fry those until they start to get a bit bubbly on the top. Okay, now you can see the pancakes are getting a bit harder at the bottom. They're cooking nicely. So you're going to spatula, and lovely. You want it to look just like this when you flip it over. Okay, so I'm going to take that side. I'm going to flip it over like that. Okay, so it just wants about a minute on the first side, and on the other side it wants another minute. Flip it over again just to check that side is done, and then your pancakes are ready. So you're going to do that until you've finished all of your batter. And there we have it, some lovely, lovely pancakes. Okay, so hopefully you can try this at home. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my pancakes with some strawberries. You might even have them with some mangoes. Pop what you do on Twitter, or send a picture into school. Hopefully you're all doing well in this lockdown and not going too crazy. I've been Mr. Immanuel, and see you soon. I'm missing you all lots and lots. Bye!